Black people were living from 20th Street to 5th Street and from 1st Avenue to 7th Avenue. The white people used to call that nigger town. That was nigger town, and that's where the niggers was supposed to be living in that area. The train tracks on the east side and the train tracks on the west side. And you were not allowed to, at 6 o'clock, you were not allowed to go across those train tracks either way. And if you did, the police used to be parked just a few blocks from the train tracks watching to see if you crossed the tracks at a certain time. Many of my friends were beaten by police officers over behind Dorsey Park in the old days. My father was coming home from work, and he just happened to pass by with a crowd of people. He was trying to get through the crowd to come home, and the policeman hit him with the whip. And my father came home, and he got his gun, and it was all we can do to control him, to keep him from going back, because he thought that the policeman had no business hitting him with a whip. He was just walking down the street trying to get home, coming from work, and things were rough at that time. We wasn't allowed to go across the tracks after 6 o'clock. If you cross the tracks after 6, the police see you, they're gonna beat you. You're gonna get a whipping all the way back across the track. Miami is a lot better today than it was when I was growing up. I mean, what else? I can tell you a lot of old stories about Miami. My name is Benjamin Brown. I'm 91 years old, and I've lived in Miami all my life. The black community in Miami was a very productive society. There were plenty places to go. There were plenty things to do, and everybody seemed happy. I mean, if you walk down 3rd Avenue or 2nd Avenue at night, there were always people in the street. There were always places all open all night long. Now Miami is like a ghost town. You walk down 2nd Avenue or 3rd Avenue, you see no one. I just saw the black part of Miami all torn apart. And they still tearing the black section of Overtown apart, because there's going to be no more black section. All that's going to be downtown Miami. I could see it coming. You go down there on 5th Street now, you got a Targets, they got a Ross, they got everything there. I got lost down there because I said, wait a minute, I thought I was on 6th Street. This don't look like no 6th Street. And I mean, everything, and people have been saying for years that this was going to eventually be downtown Miami. They're off to a good start. In some ways, ending segregation has not helped the black community. I think the black community has lost a lot of its perspectives, because back then, everything you did concerned the black community, helped the black community. A lot of local businesses didn't leave because they wanted to. They believed because they had no choice. They were also eminent domain. They had to leave. And then many of the businesses didn't want to stay in business after so many people left, because there was no money to be made. So eventually, many businesses that didn't come under eminent domain had to close up because there was no profit. Yes, back in 2011, I was notified by the State Board of Transportation that my property was going to be eminent domain. And the eminent domain means that they're taking your property for public use. And that within the next couple of years. And I felt a little disappointed because I had no say-so in the matter. And they were taking property that I've lived on all my life. And I felt a little disappointed. They gave me the opportunity to hire a lawyer and to take it to court, which I did. And of course, I lost when we went to court. The judge told me I had to move. It was no ifs, ands, and but. I had to get out. The demolition team that taught Miami was called Big Chief. And everybody used to say, here come Big Chief. That means when they say, here come Big Chief, that means where you living is about to go. Because Big Chief was tearing down all the houses and stuff. Had a face of an Indian on the trucks. All the trucks had this face of an Indian. Big Chief. I think the property that they took from me, they claimed they were going to build a highway through there. And they took property from across the street and everything, and I see they built a hotel right across from where I was living. And I said, these people done put another jack in the box on me, because now they claim this all was supposed to be for a highway. And now they're taking the land and selling it. That was one way just to get people off the land. They're selling the land. I don't know what they're selling it for, but I bet they're selling it for a lot more than what they offered me. That's an old trick. Let's get them out and resell the land. All that land now going to belongs to the county. And what the county going to do, the county going to sell it. And not one thing you can do about it. You can't do nothing about it. You just have to take it as it comes. And the bad part about it, the county approve it. Can you imagine the county approving something so stupid? I said, none of these people should be in office. All of them should be kicked out. We've come a long ways from my time to present. I think maybe we're not moving fast enough, but we've moved a giant step further than what we were back in the 40s and 50s. Today you stand more of a chance of being successful. When I was growing up, a black person had very little to no chance of ever being successful. You couldn't borrow money from banks. Banks will not loan black people money. So if you didn't have some money to start out with, you weren't going to get any from the banks. Opportunities were just not there. You couldn't get a decent job paying you a decent salary, because nobody was going to hire you if you were black. Even in the black community, they didn't have black people. Some white person was always in charge in the black community. So being successful during my time was very slim to none. You had to be very exceptional to be successful. And some people were pretty successful during my time, but most of the people that I know of were good people, very talented, the ability, but never successful. Black people didn't have a chance, didn't have a voice or a chance. Back then you only had three elementary schools. You had Douglas, Phyllis Wheatley, and Dunbar. That was the only three schools. And you had one high school, that was Booker T. Washington. Dorsey Library, a Dorsey Hotel, Dorsey, everything was Dorsey. I worked 1 year at Booker T in the high school. I was filling in for a teacher that was out for the year. So they hired me to work in this place. You know, when I was at Booker T, it was a man named Mr. Slaughter. He was in charge of all the books. You know, when we first come to school, the first day they pass out books. So Mr. Slaughter came to my class and asked the teacher, say, let me have some of these boys in your class to pass these books out. So I was one of the boys he selected to pass the books. So I look in this book, I see Miami High. Brand new book, I see Miami High. So I say, hey, Mr. Slaughter, they sent these books to the wrong school. He said, what do you mean? I say, this book says Miami High. It doesn't say Booker T. Washington. It says Miami High. He said, "Oh, Brian, you know what? Miami High sent their old books over here to us to use. After they used the books for 5 years, all the new books, they sent them over to Booker T. Washington to use. Now these books are 5 years old, and you teaching the students at Booker T with books that Miami High don't use no more. So I was saying that's a shame. We get Miami High old books they don't want. And they didn't try to hide it. The teachers knew, everybody knew, because it's stamped right in the book. Miami High. I said, man, oh man. The black teachers didn't get paid what the white teachers were getting. That didn't happen until they formed a union here. And when they formed the union, the union told them, you got to pay the black teachers the same as you pay the white teachers, because the white teachers were getting more. That's one of the few things I think the union did brought about integration. The union started telling them you can't have this separate but equal. We never equal. I mean, we're always unequal. We had a game we used to call dumb school. Dumb school, you sit on the steps, because at my house it was 2-story. You sit on the steps, and the first one get to the top of the steps become the teacher. You take a rock, you had this little rock you put in your hand, and the person would put the rock behind the back. The teacher would, in the dumb school, would put the rock behind the back, and they come out, you had to guess which hand the rock was in. And every time you guess right, you move up a step.
Okay.
So if you guess wrong, you just stay on the step that you're on.
Okay, that's funny. Oh, that sounds fun. Okay, yeah.
So that was called dumb school.
Dumb school. Yeah, I never heard of that one.
Right now, I think we're on the wrong track. I think this country is on the wrong track, and I'm hoping that the leaders in both parties, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, I'm just hoping that they can get together and see that what's going on with the executive branch of government is not the right thing to do. So you got the judicial branch of the government that seem to not living up to true justice. The judicial branch are changing things to make it easy for the executive branch of the government to do all kinds of things that shouldn't be done. Back when I was growing up, they had a police chief called H. Leslie Quigg. Quigg hated black people, and he didn't try to hide it. He let it know, I don't like black people. And he'll tell you right quick, I don't like black people. I want black people to stay in a black person's place, like black people got a special place to stay in. If you black, stay in your place. And he would have that printed in the papers and everything. If you're black, you would stay in your place. H. Leslie Quigg. You got black policemen. They can't arrest white people. If a white person involved, you got to call white policemen to make the arrest. You can only arrest black people. You had to go down there and plead with, if you wanted to become a policeman, you had to go down and plead it with I.P. Davis. I.P. Davis was a dentist down there on 2nd Avenue. And the white people had more confidence in him than any black person. So they let him pick the black people he wanted to be policemen. So all you had to do was to be a friend of I.P. Davis, and you could be a policeman. So he picked the first black people to be policemen. He picked Moody Hall. Moody Hall just come here from Jacksonville. Pick old man Lee. Lee used to sell insurance for Alfro Insurance Company. He picked Kimball, Millich, and Smith. They were the first 5 black policemen. They had no power other than to arrest black people. I think Milledge was the first black policeman that got killed. He used to try to be a bully anyhow, so people were glad somebody shot him. He was out there on Dorsey Park. They had a fence or a wall all the way around Dorsey Park, and they used to play the football games at Dorsey Park. So this was one Thursday night. I think Booker T was playing some team. Milledge walking on the wall there with a whip in one hand. Anybody trying to jump over the fence, he run up there on the fence and beat him off the fence with a whip. So one boy was trying to jump over the fence, and Milledge hit him with the whip. Boy ran home, got a rifle, and shot him. And it was a long time before they found out who shot Milledge. He was a young boy, a guy named Strong. He was a young boy. He was 19 years old when he shot Milledge, and he left Miami the very next day. He went to New York, and he stayed up in New York till he was 60-some years old when they found out it was a lady and her husband sitting on their front porch when Strong ran by their house. They lived right close to the park. And he ran by their house with this rifle in his hand. So they knew he was the one that shot the Milledge. But the woman's husband said her husband told her never tell who shot Milledge, because a lot of people didn't like him. So she waited till her husband died. And after her husband died, she said, I got something to tell everybody that my husband would not let me tell you before. And they say, what? She said, I know who shot Milledge. And then she told him, she said it was a boy living in his neighborhood named Strong. So he's the one that shot Milledge. So they traced it down, and they found out this guy was living in New York. He's 60-some years old, and they brought him back here. They found out that this guy was a big deacon in the church in New York, and he lived a clean life and everything. So they told him, oh, we got to give you some time. So they sent him to jail for about a year, and they let him go. The man had a wife and children and everything. He confessed. He said, yeah, I shot him. He hit me with the whip. He beat me with his whip, and I don't think I deserved that. John Milledge, first black officer killed in the line of duty. And he was one of the 5 original officers. I had a brother that was a policeman, and that was one of the reasons why he said he quit the force, because they told him he could carry his gun. You're supposed to carry your gun with you at all times. In some case you come across a situation where somebody is being robbed, you have a gun to protect yourself. So he was downtown in a store, and this white guy saw him had this gun. So the white guy called the police, said, there's a black guy in here with a gun. So the police came out and said, put your hands up, nigga. Put your hands up. Said, they didn't know he was a policeman. What you doing carrying a gun down here? So my brother told him, I'm a policeman. They didn't believe it. He pulled out all his badges and credentials, and they still took him to jail. And they finally told him, yeah, this guy is a policeman. He's a black policeman. So my brother said he was very disappointed. They didn't want black policemen to carry guns in the white end. Even if they're in civilian clothes, they tell them to carry the weapons. Then they tell them if you're a black policeman, that doesn't apply to you. That only applies to the white police. So he said he quit the force. He didn't put up with that foolishness. You don't have no authority, not in the black community, not no more than in the black community. Some of the things I went through, I had a white lady right there on 3rd Avenue. There used to be a drugstore called Economy Drugstore. This white woman, now, it's a one-way street. For some reason or the other, she pulled up on the other in the other lane, right side of my car, and she in such a big hurry. When she took off, she took the bumper of my car with her. So the woman did have enough sense to stop. So I called the police. I told her, the guy in the store, store on the corner, call the police. This woman just took the bumper off my car. So then the police comes out. They tell the woman she could go. You could go on about your business. Now they gonna hold me. I said, what you holding me for? She took my car. So then when we go to court, the judge asked me what happened. I told the judge, the police came up and they told the woman to go. She took off from the traffic light and she took my bumper with her. And she knew she took the bumper with her because she stopped. She didn't try to get away or nothing. She stopped. The police came up and they told her to go on and they started blaming the accident on me. So the judge asked the woman, said, why did you leave? And she told the judge, she didn't tell him that the police told her to go on about her business. She told the judge, all these black people started crowding around me and I got scared. The judge said, you got scared, huh? The judge said, well, you're going to pay a fine for getting scared. He told me not to worry about it. He said, I'll see that she fix your car. And he did. He told her she had to fix my car. Yeah, well, the judge realized what was going on. He knew what was, you call the police and they want to arrest you. And out in Liberty City, you had one high school. That was Dorsey. And they named that after the D.A. Dorsey, the man that owned so much land around here. He gave the city a lot of land. Yeah, back in the 50s and the 40s, and things were rough. Back when they had Schoolboy Row and Captain Jack patrolling the Overtown area. Schoolboy Row and Captain Jack. Two white police officers. They got a reputation of beating people, taking them behind Dorsey Park and giving them a good whipping. Dorsey Park used to have a high fence. You couldn't see inside the park. And they would take you behind Dorsey Park. All the police back then had a bullwhip. And they would whip you. You come back with your clothes all torn up, off and everything else. And they had these two white cops, Schoolboy Row and Captain Jack. They were famous for beating black people. Then you had Good Bread Alley. Good Bread Alley ran from 4th Avenue, I would say, to 5th Court. Houses so close together you could eat off the table of your neighbor. So every week, there about 5 or 6 people would be killed in Good Bread Alley. Very dangerous place for people to live. Then on 13th Street, 2nd Avenue, and 1st Court, you had Switchblade Lane.
Switchblade Lane?
Yeah, everybody that lived there had a switchblade knife. That's why they call it Switchblade Lane.
You had a switchblade lane?
I didn't live in Switchblade Lane. And right on the corner of 14th Street, 3rd Avenue, you had a place called Bucket of Blood. Every Saturday night, a couple people get killed there. Call it Bucket of Blood. Then you had the chop suey. You had 3 chop sueys around here. One on 2nd Avenue and 2 on 3rd Avenue.
What's a chop suey?
Chop suey is a place where they sell Chinese food. You used to get a lot of food for your money, so everybody would like to go to the chop suey because you buy one meal and you could feed 3 people with that one meal.
Oh, wow.
So everybody spent a lot of time at the chop suey.
What was your favorite thing to eat when you were a kid?
Well, I always liked pigeon peas and rice and fried chicken. That was my mother's favorite Sunday dish. She would cook pigeon peas and rice and fried chicken, collard greens. Time has changed. Things are altogether different. Back then, it was the good old days because everybody knew each other and everybody cared for each other. You could go leave your house open, didn't have to worry about people breaking in.
Yeah.
And if somebody saw somebody breaking in your house, they would go over there and stop them. They wouldn't wait to call the police, because if you call the police, you know who's coming. Schoolboy Rowe and Captain Jack, and you know somebody's gonna get a good whipping. So they'll go over there and stop them. My mother came to Miami in 1906. And my father came to Miami in about 1915, 1916, somewhere around there.
Okay.
But my mother came here shortly after Miami became a city. She came here as a little girl, so she was raised up here in Miami. So what else you want to know about Miami? All the stores in the black community was owned by white people or Chinese. The Chinese had a Joe's Market on every corner. Just about they had a Joe's Market. And the Joe's Market, all of them was run by Chinese people. I know my mother almost shot one of them. I went to the store one day, and I said, no wonder they call these Chinese cheeky people cheeky. I said, look at how high the price is on these things. And that Chinaman heard me say, cheeky. That Chinaman walked out from behind the counter and slapped me so hard, he left his handprint on my face. And I ran home, was crying and everything. Mama said, boy, what's wrong with you? I said, that Chinaman slapped me in the store. Mama said, well, what did you do? I said, all I said was, why no wonder they call these Chinamans cheeky. Mama got that gun and wrapped it in a towel and walked out there and walked in that store and said, which one of you Chinamen hit my son? That Chinaman was named Chuck. I never would forget it. He come from behind the counter and he was telling Mama, your son cursed me. And my mother hit that Chinaman so hard. First she hit him with a fist. He was smoking a cigarette. That cigarette went sailing through the air. Mama hit him so hard. And then she flipped that towel over, and the butcher in the back of the store come running out there. He said, oh, Miss Brown, don't shoot him. He got between my mother and the Chinaman. Said, don't shoot him. He was all down on his knees. He said, I told Chuck he shouldn't have slapped that boy like he did. He said, I told Chuck to go to lunch because I knew somebody was coming back here in this store. He said, I thought it would be one of your sons. He said, I didn't know it was going to be you, Miss Brown. Mama said, but boy, if I ever catch you in that store again, I'm going to whip all the skin off of you. The next day I was coming home from school, and Chuck was out there. Chuck said, Brown boy, hey, Brown boy, come, I got candy for you, candy. I said, I wanted that candy, but I said, I know what my mother told me. I ain't going over there to get no candy from Chuck. I see the change in society with people, and whether it's good or whether it's bad, somebody seems to always end up behind the 8 ball. I see things now that I never thought would happen in our government and in our neighborhoods. I see things taking place that would never have happened days when I was a child. So I guess things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. when people can go anywhere they want to go now and live anywhere they want to live, it's not like it used to be. You were segregated, but segregated, you had your own black theaters, you had your own black schools. I mean, everything was black, and it was just people you know where everyone was because we were all in one certain area. This area what they used to call Colored Town. The white people used to call it Nigger Town. That's like the police told us one time when we were going to get Christmas tree, we used to walk all the way from my house out to Hialeah. That's it. We'd go in the morning, it'd be about 6 or 7 of us. This was around Christmas time. And we would cut down the pine trees out there in Hialeah because Hialeah was like a jungle. Each one of us had a wagon. We would fill the wagon up with trees, and on the way back, people would be buying the trees from us. By the time I got home, it would only be one tree left, and that was the tree I saved for myself. People would be buying them. We'd be going out there, and the police would stop us. Where you boys going? You're going out here to Hialeah to cut some Christmas trees. Police. You boys don't get back to Nigger Town, I'll beat all the black off you. We'd have to turn around, go back, start out again the next day. You're just hoping that the police don't catch us, because if they catch us, they're going to make us go back. They're going to turn us around. We ain't doing nothing but trying to make a little extra change, but they didn't let us do it. Growing up, my father could never go to a bank and get money. He could never draw money from a bank because the bank would not loan him black people money. My time, people come in from other countries. For example, the Cubans would come here and they could go to the bank and they'll get, not only will they get the money, but the government will secure the loan. This is a secured loan. The bank will loan them money before they loan me money because the government is backing their loan. I was in the military for 2 years and I couldn't get a government-backed loan. After I got out the military, I looked at life as altogether different as it was before I went in. When I graduated from high school, I didn't want to go to college. I had no idea going to college. I just wanted to get a job and make some money. After I got out the military, I saw that all the guys that had college degrees in the military got the best jobs and they got the best promotions. So I said to myself, I'm going to get me a degree. If there's nothing else I do, I'm going to get me a degree. I was able to get a GI Bill to go to college, the government paid for. But I still had to work to save up money during the summer to pay my tuition every year, even though I was getting government subsidies. So it changed my life. The military did change my life, gave me a new perspective on life. I learned things I could never learn no place else.